Yakmala, Yakmala, it is time again for Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo. Another week is ready for you. And let me tell you, this is Season 1, and this is Episode 4, when we have, a true classic. We have American Shaolin, also sometimes known as King of the Kickboxers II, but this one is over the top, and I'm really looking forward to talking about it. I am 8th Dan Stanadu, and I am joined by my buddy Jim. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk about this movie because I need the thoughts and the experience of this team brought to light here on American Shaolin.
Oh yeah, it's got to be brought in. It's got to be. All right, Jack Hall.
Sup,
yo. All right, and finally Nick Boxer. How you doing?
Greetings and salutations, and I am extremely fine.
Extremely fine. All right, well,
this movie just put me in a good mood.
Well, how could it not? How could it not? I got a text from
It is
Brad.
the Turkish bathhouse of Kung Fu films.
Well, I got a text from Brad, and he said that he enjoyed the movie, but he is not going to be able to talk about it with us, so maybe we can get his scores from later, but he is still not here. So we are just going to carry on.
But he's someplace where Brad is someplace he has cell phone capabilities here.
This time he is. He's going.
Right. I'm glad you heard from him. I was getting worried.
The great thing is that, and I think it's good. It could be a lot of fun, but maybe on the website we can actually put all the places that Brad has been while we've been recording, because I'll tell you, he's been some crazy places. That guy, if you ever do get a chance to talk to him, Brad Doc, he's an interesting motherfucker.
I found out where he was for quite a few of the episodes. Ohio. He was in the middle of Ohio. So the other exotic places I can't wait to hear.
I know. I mean, it doesn't get much more out there than the middle of Ohio, but he's exploring for us. So good on you, Brad. Keep it going, brother. All right. So let's start with Nick and tell us about American Shaolin if you can.
Wait. I cannot wait.
Actually, it's quite simple. This dude who I am calling the American Shaolin, although IMDb seems to list his name as Drew, but I really didn't care. He gets humiliated by a guy in a ponytail, so he decides to travel to an Asian country, I think, to train with the Shaolin.
An Asian country, China.
It is at least nominally China. Yeah.
Yes.
It actually was really China.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's the fact that he's humiliated by the guy with the ponytail, which is, I think the defining.
I think you're leaving out how he's humiliated.
the how.
The key.
The how is good in this one. That's for
the
sure.
how stands out. Yes.
Yeah.
Are you trying to save that for later? Like, I think we've got to talk about it. It's the first 3 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, and it doesn't just happen once. It happens twice. It's so amazing that it's like, oh yeah. So it's like, so I love the fact that the sadistic kickboxer's name is Trevor Got It All. That's great by itself. But the fact that his finishing maneuver is pantsing people and then kicking them while they're embarrassed, that's fantastic. That just takes this movie to a whole other level right there. Pantsing.
No, see, this was crazy and I loved it, but I was too distracted by crazy hair mentor dude for the bad guy to actually fully take in the insanity of what was going on in the ring.
I love that the bad guy's name is Trevor, because it's the least intimidating name I can think of. And it led to what I think is the greatest line in the entire film, and which isn't one of my memorable moments or anything, so I'm not blowing this early. when they meet back up at the end, the American Shaolin says, "I came to the Shaolin Temple because of you, Trevor." And it is like it's a teen movie. It's essentially like a John Cusack type story that just happens to be about becoming a Shaolin monk ninja.
Oh, totally. Like it's like they took the teen movie, that happened to be set in the Shaolin Temple, and then they gave it a donut of an American action movie.
Pretty much. It's forever before there's another fight.
That's the thing that amazes me about this movie. I mean, it absolutely, like, it's not an action film. It's not even an action comedy. It's just a pure comedy with a fight at the end.
It's obviously a musical.
Oh,
this is everything. This is everything for all people, I think.
Yeah, it's something. It's like it's got to be rated PG or G or something. Like it's like there's, we originally had a modifier, I think, for nudity, and we took it out, and it's good because a movie like this would never have it, because like you say, it's like you could show this to your 8-year-old, like, totally,
Oh yeah, it's so over the top in every way. That's what I loved about it. It's just the fact that it didn't matter. If you can think of it, you can throw it in there.
Honestly, one of my first notes from this movie is this Stripes? Because I'm pretty sure this is Stripes.
It's true. I think, but basically the same thing.
I mean, there's so much to love about this movie. For me, like, when you start watching it, I mean, because Trevor got it all.
No, wait. We have not discussed the pantsing enough.
That's where I'm going. I'm going there
good.
right now.
Good.
Because you got Trevor got it all, and so, I mean, he's in his training mode right off the top. So you have this moment where you're like, is he the good guy? Because usually that's what they do, is show the good guy first. But so and then he kind of beats the guy, but he does it wrong, and so it's like, oh, chastise. Oh, here's this guy for you to face who looks like Chuck Norris. And then it's just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna beat him up again a little bit, and then bam, pants and scene, and then it's like dancing around. Oh yeah, everybody's laughing. Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. Slapping their knees, and then of course
God, I just realized how badly I screwed up.
What's the problem?
You watched the wrong movie?
No. I gave the scores for this movie for the last movie. I gave my American Shaolin score to this wife never do two things that start with American in a row. I didn't think I scored American Ninja nearly as high. I scored a 27 out of 50. It's actually a 17.
Well, Stan, do you want to go back and just re-record just Jack's sections? That'll be
oh God!
No, this is way funnier. We leave this in. And I'll just give you right now my American Ninja, and then you can see, and I'll take the Octagon.
Okay, wait. Just so what you're saying is you want me to redo the numbers for American Ninja, and we'll just say that the judges recalled this one, that there were irregularities in the scoring.
And we'll just give the Schlock Appeal. We'll just use the scores for American Shaolin over. This is awesome. So Schlock Appeal 3, More Heart Than Budget 5, What the Fuck Moments 4, Memorable Moments 2. I think I gave that a 7 before and said, boy, it was loaded with them. It wasn't. Crazy Concept 3, overall 17. Oops.
Right. That knocks American Ninja down to a 42.5 out of 100.
That's more like.
And your scores now make sense.
Yes, I kind of felt the same way.
Because you were so high on the last episode.
And it was a movie that you came out and said that
Jack is the highest score. I'm like, really? Because I didn't like it as much.
Great. I need to add a second asterisk to that one.
Okay, well, let's get back to talking about this. Go on to the pantsing.
Okay. Well, I mean, the pantsing in like his training bit was really weird. It was like, wow, what an odd moment. I thought that just seems strange. But then the fact when you're in this major competition and you've got Drew is his name, and
I'm okay with you just call him American Shaolin. That seems to be the style that we're doing. We'll just call it. It's just Gymkhana, just American Ninja, just American Shaolin.
But so you've got Trent or Trevor, whatever. Trevor got it all, and then you've got American Shaolin, and he's fighting, and it's obvious that they're both kicking ass because there they are getting to the top with no problem, and then basically got it all, kicks the crap out of American Shaolin, and then it's like the fight takes place in an alternate world. I actually thought that the fight was just in his head, and he was more worried about getting pantsed than he was about actually fighting or anything like that. And I didn't realize until like the pantsing happened, and then it's just like, ooh, suddenly we're out of this crazy everybody's gone.
I think you're over. I mean, there's a good psychology behind the pantsing. If you embarrass your opponent, he's never going to want to come back and fight again. So you don't just beat him; you embarrass him by pantsing him in the middle of a fighting tournament.
That's right. You've beaten him once and every other time. Just all in one movement. An incredibly illegal moment that would get you disqualified. You just wait.
The actual move that pantses him. That's the meaty part. Jim, please. Can you describe this to people? It's like he's like flipping in the air, spinning, and his pants come off.
I didn't know how he got pantsed in how either of them actually got pantsed. It was just kind of like, hey, look, they pantsed.
It's like a big flourish before it happens, and then it happens like in like a jump cut that just suddenly you're pantsed.
I actually want to, I think we should give, tip our hats to the editor, Alan Poon, for that one. And in fact, as well, note that he edited all of the No Retreat, No Surrender movies.
It's no surprise. Those were written by, the same guy, the Keith, the legendary Keith W. Strandberg. And also, I got to tell you, one of the people, you talk about the competition where they're just flowing through things, one of the people that gets beat up in that competition, Andrew Shue, who goes on to Melrose Place.
That's amazing.
Oh,
yes, it is.
I mean, so great. But, one of my favorite moments is after American Shaolin loses, and his teacher, he's distraught, and he's like, oh, he's gonna quit, and then his teacher comes and tells him, yeah, turns out I'm a liar. I never got trained as a Shaolin monk. And,
the fact that you made it to the finals should really be celebrated, because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Considering
that scene explains why the American Shaolin seems to know nothing about martial arts after this competition, like nothing when he gets to the temple.
I know, like he didn't know anything.
How did he get that far?
Like he must have fought the worst competition leading up to fighting Got It All, because man, oh man, like the way his teacher acted was like, whoa, I really fucked you up, man. Like,
we have now talked about the beginning section that takes place in America longer than it takes in the movie.
That's because all of it is crazy.
Let's jump.
And the Shaolin temple isn't crazy.
Oh no, it's new crazy.
Let's get into the Shaolin temple, because my My thought watching everything that happens for the time he gets to the Shaolin Temple is, this is why people in other countries hate Americans.
Yes. Yes.
I was pretty offended by that. I'm like, why are they always portraying us as these assholes, like these arrogant assholes who know everything? That's always a little annoying, but you know.
He shows up in China. He does not speak the languages and immediately, constantly irritated that people don't speak English. He gets to the temple and expects to get in. There's really no reason why he shouldn't get in. As soon as he does finally get in, he complains about literally everything.
Yeah.
And when he screws
he brought
up,
a Playboy. None of them have ever seen one.
and when he screws up, he's literally told, "You get a second chance because you're a foreigner."
Yeah, but he's told at the beginning no foreigner has ever gotten in.
Yeah.
So once he does get in, after a week of sitting outside, that seems like it's got to be at least 6 months, but it's a week. Which,
Now,
I love that moment.
Well, he doesn't grow he doesn't grow any stubble or any, like nothing. Like nothing changes physically on him except for he looks tired. I'm like, what's it been, an hour? Like,
but it's so fantastic because it's just like that week it's got like rain and like I swear that there was snow. It was like hot.
Oh, there's a scene where there's snow and the next scene is in the sun. I love it when they do that.
But one of those things about this movie is that they have this constantly happening is the thunder and lightning. It's tied into so many different scenes and it's just like you can almost tell when a big scene is coming because it's like lightning, thunder, okay, all right, something big is going to happen now because he does that. But it was just, you knew that was coming, but it was still, the way they did it was still so incredibly awesomely silly that it was so wonderful.
I think we've talked long enough about the movie without talking about the movie. And when I say the movie, I mean the part of the movie that we will all never forget. Nobody who's seen it will ever forget besides the pantsing. Shaolin Temple Blues.
Oh yeah.
This thing is. I tried to explain to my wife that there was a musical number in the middle of it, and she's like, "You mean just there's like a scene with it's got a big like a Footloose kind of thing?" Like, no, the monks sing.
Yeah. Well, none of them, since he introduces them to good old American rock and roll.
The one song that they got the rights to, "Summertime Blues."
Yeah, well, that's where they spent all their money.
They got their money's worth. Because I counted 4 different occasions that it played.
But they don't sing like they sing at. Don't get me wrong, as he teaches them the words, but then they create different words to call it Shaolin Temple Blues instead of Summertime Blues. I can't even remember. I don't know the lyrics for this. I should. This should be my ringtone.
It should be everything. It should be like the music that plays in your car. It should be the ringtone and
go off.
And your alarm. Yep, like it's time to wake up, and there ain't no cure for the Shaolin Temple Blues.
It's awesome.
They could have used a Chinese song in there.
Nope.
And it wouldn't have made a difference whatsoever.
No, I think they needed an American song because this movie is obviously winds up being so pro-American in that it's really no there's no real surprise that they got kicked out of China. But
are all the so I was confused by the English Chinese thing in the movie because they make a point when he's outside that he should be speaking Chinese and doesn't speak a word of it, and then when he gets inside the temple, everyone speaks English, and
most of them don't even have an accent. I love when half the cast speaks English with a Chinese accent and half sound American.
And usually when you see this kind of movie, you just suspension of disbelief is like, okay, they're actually speaking in Chinese, but for simplicity, like we're hearing English. But there are then scenes where there's subtitled because people are speaking Chinese to other people speaking Chinese. So that means they actually changed when they let him into the temple. They just said, okay, to make it easy on new guy, everybody speak English.
Well, this is all about making life easy on new guy, except for the fact that he acts like such a douchebag.
Well,
I won't accept any of the rules.
Well, I think the best part about it is that, I mean, what's a great example is probably he goes to the Shaolin temple. He calls the guy who's sweeping cue ball or something like that. Everybody's bald. Then, of course, they go to shave his head, and he's like, hey, how about just a little off the top? He's like, he doesn't think that he's going to have to do it. By the way, if you're wondering, there was somebody else who was almost cast in this role who they wanted, who turned it down because, and he's a very famous guy, turned down the role because he didn't want to shave his head. Any guesses?
Chuck Norris.
No. No.
Johnny Depp.
No. Jason Bateman.
No way. For tone wise, that would make perfect sense.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about how this is basically a teen movie.
Yeah.
You know, Jason Bateman has that likable quality that would have actually pushed this into a slightly better zone.
I thought Rhys Madigan as that character was actually quite likable, because he is like a total like American douchebag like type guy, and yet you kind of can't help but like him. And I mean, he's still working as a stage actor, like he's still,
Did you say stagehand?
I guess we won't ever be interviewing him on the show.
No.
I wonder if he would do an interview about. He never did another film, did he?
He's never done another movie. No, just stage plays. Yeah.
Wow.
It's interesting. Like you can see it. Like, I mean, he definitely manages to get more likable as the time goes on. And Gao, played by Daniel Day Kim, who of course has gone on to quite
great success.
Law success, yeah.
Yeah, and Hawaii 5-0, and he started the production company that does The Good Doctor, which is a big hit. But when you speak about likable, apparently one of the reasons why he didn't find work afterwards was not only did he get ill also on the set, and that was a little bit difficult. He was apparently quite difficult as the movie went on to work with. So and the same thing, the producer wasn't getting along with the director. It was the same director as King of the Kickboxers, probably what they called it that, Lucas Lowe. And then apparently Rhys Madigan developed quite an attitude as the film went on. So not the way to act when you are still starting out.
I think there's that it's so interesting when you're in the movie and like. Then they let them out, they let his group out, and all this stuff happens, and that is totally that teen movie. Like, oh yeah, he's falling in love with the girl, and they got to go to the dance.
The dance is probably the most teen movie moment you've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Like that dance is total. They show up, they're just there to have a good time. Some bullies pick on them, they fight back. It's like. Yeah, like I say, I mean, it really was. It was a comedy until near the end when he has to pass his trials. Then it's not even an action film. Then it's just a drama. Like,
well, at that point, it's you've hit like the train, like not the training moment, but the end of the training moment where it's just like you have to dig deep. You have to, move with grace and get outside of yourself. But I love the fact that he had to fight all those wooden practice dummies that moved under the temple.
That's the thing, Nick. Aren't a lot of those training, like the concepts of those training scenes, at least, Nick, aren't they kind of out of the 36 chambers of Shaolin?
I haven't checked this. I've looked online, but I haven't found any backup. I believe those sets were ripped straight out of the third 36 chambers of a Shaolin movie.
Well, I mean, they did show up to the actual. They showed up to the actual American Shaolin Temple to film, and they had the rights to film there. But apparently, it wasn't majestic enough, so they ended up moving on to some bigger temples when they were there. So,
and Corey Yoon, the stunt coordinator, was actually involved in the making of a lot of those classic Shaw Brothers movies. So it is possible that he was able to work out a deal to steal some props and sets. So
yeah,
I love those things.
Like when they're like putting their hands in the hot coals, to toughen them up, and walking on those like sticks with like, I seem to remember that from 36 Chambers. So it's been a while since I've watched it.
No, but the sets in this movie are impressive.
Yeah,
I mean, if they went to the real temple and said this isn't good enough, and they came up with this instead, I back that decision. The sets are excellent in this movie. It felt like a real Shaolin temple to me.
Yeah, well, because like I said, they were there. They were in real temples. And same thing, they were in the Forbidden City. They were filming in the Forbidden City. They didn't get all the footage they wanted. They got kicked out by the government because it was only 2 years after the Tiananmen Square. So they were kicked out in the middle of filming on the day that they were there. But they definitely were trying to get legitimate stuff. I mean, when we talk about our scoring, we have that more heart than budget thing. They were definitely trying to stretch their budgets, maybe not in special effects, but in that way. And, obviously in the song rights.
Yeah, the only place I thought the budget was lacking is maybe some dance lessons. Because, I mean, the dance scene was fine, but the training the monks to dance was hilarious.
Oh, that was awesome.
Well, you mentioned the scoring, and I think we should probably get into the scoring. I mean, I know it's like we could probably talk about this movie for hours.
Oh yeah,
this is one that has really developed its own fandom. Separate just from people who like this genre, it really is. There's an American Shaolin fandom of its own. So we rate these movies out of 5 categories. These are not about objective quality. Because American Shaolin's not about objective quality. They are about enjoyment and about how these fit into our search for the ultimate B movie. So we're going to start with a category we call schlock appeal.
Now, all mine, I don't have to give them again. I gave them for American Ninja. So just go back.
I've just copied and pasted these into the Octagon scorecard.
Awesome for you. Less work.
Yeah. Saved me a lot of. I had to type 5 digits otherwise.
Let me give you. You know what? I'll give you the scores for our next movie on this one too. Next coming up next is Kickboxer. So, no, Bloodsport. Sorry,
Bloodsport.
Oh, thank God! I thought I watched the wrong movie.
Let me give you my scores for Kickboxer though.
It's great. So just give it for a movie that we're not watching.
You know what? I'm going to give you my scores for Porky's. It'll be totally different.
Do that in 4 or 5 more seasons. Stan, schlock appeal.
All right. This movie's a mess, and even though I don't think I can watch it that often, I can appreciate the sheer magnitude of crap that they tossed into this movie. And it's all in. I gotta give it a 7.
All right, Nick. I know this is a favorite of yours.
No, not in this category. Actually, I thought they played it straight. There wasn't a lot of not a lot to grab onto for shock appeal. There was some crazy stuff, but it was so damn earnest. I have to only give it a 5. I want to go higher, but I can't do any higher than 5.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right. I think that the middle is so earnest, definitely, that even though it's things like the song and stuff like that is crazy, but it's not out of place within the movie and the way they're doing it to some degree. But Trevor Gottenall, just that performance, that guy was mainly that actor only. I think this is his only movie, and he was on some daytime soap opera, like Guiding Light or something like that, for a couple of years, and pretty much disappeared. But that character, the part where he's beating up, we talk about what's his name there, the Daniel Day Kim, who's a real life Taekwondo black belt at the time of filming. He's beating him up. There's the bit where he has him against the ring, and he has his like leg on him for like 4 minutes, like stretched out, just like sitting there on him, threatening him, trying to get the American Shaolin character to fight him. Like that character or that opening sequence, it just everything with him was like a 10 on the schlocks, but the rest of the film was a little bit low, so I got it a 5.
See, that's the part that I love, is because it's so different than all the other movies, because it does become this teen movie in the middle that I'm like, I love it even more because it became a teen movie in the middle.
I went really high on this one. And it is the mashup of the genres. This one took a long time for me to get into. I found I really struggled in the first 20 minutes, half hour, and then probably right around the musical.
Pantsing? You struggled with pantsing?
Yeah, it just seemed goofy, but it was the musical number. Like, I mean, it was just I'm a big fan of absurdism. And that was where it really jumped up and was something special. I went all the way up to an 8 on this, and honestly, because the way the movie is structured, you have like the big resolution where he finally becomes a Shaolin, wins the respect of his peers, and everyone cheers for him. And I'm like, oh, that was an enjoyable movie. And then it's like, oh, we've got to go have this competition now. I'm like, why is there more movie?
Well, the movie could have cut off 15 minutes. Like, this is a long movie. It's an hour and 45 minutes. It could have easily cut off 15 minutes.
Yeah, like the framing sequence is completely unnecessary, really. If you had started with him coming to China and then ended with him like winning the respect of
you, it's on. We wouldn't have got the pantsing.
I know there'd be no pantsing, but I think it might have been a stronger movie.
The rest of the movie wasn't needed,
but
the framing sequence was needed.
It's the fact that he comes back, and because, yes, you need the emotional resolution of him versus Trevor. And you gotta get that somehow.
Well, you don't need that if you cuff Trevor from the beginning. I think this is ripe for a fan edit. Let's see if we can cut this down to a brisk 90. All right, next category is more heart than budget. So this is how the filmmakers stretched their dollar and got creative and brought in something special for the dollars they had. So Stan, let's go to you.
The fact that they shot this in China is incredible. The battle with the wooden people at the end was just insane. I mean, they were trying to give you everything that they humanly could. I gave this one a 7.
Nick?
8. Every cent they had is on that screen.
Twice.
And a few cents they didn't have.
Jack, your 6 was because?
Hey, I know how expensive song rights are.
Yeah, song rights, man, no doubt.
Like, we won't see a lot of these other movies with a song that's a well-known hit song in it that they license. So,
yeah, for sure.
Not that hasn't fallen into public domain.
No.
I gave it a 7. Same as the others. Really, I thought the amount that they were able to do in China and bring in some things I hadn't seen in other movies, particularly American movies. So the next category that I can't wait to hear if you've got anything that you're holding in reserve from this wacky movie. WTF Moments is a category of the crazy, weird things that you can't believe even made it onto the screen. Stan.
Well, one word. Pantsing. Pantsing wins for me. A martial arts movie that has pantsing in it. But I love the fact, to become a Shaolin warrior monk, you have to face the whole bunch of wooden training dummies that move on their own. That's great. They all speak great English at the temples. I know we brought that up, but you could be a douchebag American who really wants to learn and yet not act like it. But everyone still likes you. The fact that you were able to get this heartwarming moment in there, but the like little cherry on the top was his original teacher, who just totally lied to him. Like, this is so chock full of WTF moments. It's 8.
All right. Nick?
Yeah, no, I'm going with 8 here too. Mostly for the song, to tell you the truth. I just like you, that was the turnaround moment for me. And then you add in the final wooden people test. That was great. I loved it. 8, strong 8 too.
Yeah, and I'm lower here. I got the 5 on this one because I think everything that was in there, if it was crazy, it was because it was just like a poor creative decision, but it wasn't like why did they do that? It's like, oh, I know why they did the song thing. They just thought it would be cool and funny and entertaining. So they put the song in there. You know, it's weird.
And they played it 4 times.
Yeah, but it's weird, but they, I get it. Unlike, Jim Cotter, where for no reason one character has a falcon out of nowhere and then he doesn't. Like, that's where I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is like, okay, you sang a song that was hilarious. It was strange, but I get it. You're trying.
Now imagine if the guy sang a song to his falcon.
There's a WTF. So it's a 5.
All of those things in a bag of chips. I went with a 9 because this movie just keeps getting WTF over and over. And you guys mentioned I'm glad you didn't steal my line, because you mentioned the wooden dummies. So this is like, it seems to be an automated system that finishes the training. That I thought all the monks were going to do, and then just Drew does it, and it seems to be the end. Like, it's almost like he volunteered, so none of them have to do this test except him. But I wrote down Shaolin versus Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Well, again, I think something like that though was in one of those 36 chambers. It's just, this was done American Shaolin style.
All right, memorable moments. Also, there's just so many. So these are different than WTF. These are the lines or the scenes that are iconic and that you'll be able to carry with you in your heart. Stan.
Well, I'll never forget the Wooden Warrior test, the Rock'em Sock'em Robots as it is, and I'll never ever forget Shaolin Temple Blues. And y'all know it. I will never, ever forget pantsing in a martial arts movie, so I gave it a 6.
Yeah, I agree with you. 6. All those scenes you just mentioned. Plus, I just love the scene where he leads all his fellow novices in revolt against, because they're not getting proper training, and he's put down by, yeah, you did fine. Yeah, we're gonna actually train you now, and he's just sort of, oh, okay, I didn't have to lead these people here. I laughed so hard when that happened for some reason.
I think that it's a what did I give it here? Like a 7, because we've already talked about all of them except for the one that I think might be the most memorable of them all. It probably qualifies as a WTF, and I should have mentioned it. And that's I believe the very last line in the movie is when the guy who says,
"Oh, that's how I was going to leave the show."
Well, it's too late now. I'm committed. He looks at him and he goes, "That's the future of Shaolin." Like,
I love that line so much.
That's the future. Look, that's the future of Shaolin. Like, anybody who has any Chinese heritage, when they saw this movie, the fact they got this Chinese actor to say this blows my mind. That must have offended the shit out of them. That's the future of Shaolin. Not, something like something celebrated both sides. No, that's the future. Well, but it is an American movie, so.
White douchebag gets to be the future of Shaolin. Yeah!
Well, I want to mention a couple of memorable moments here that haven't been mentioned. One is, I think the most iconic thing in it is the posts training, where they're on giant wooden posts and they have to run across them, kind of crouched.
Again, 36 chambers. I'm 99%
really
sure
nice.
it's in there. Yeah,
I didn't do enough homework. I need to watch a subsequent.
That's a great movie. It's got all this stuff, and it's got like all those Shaw Brothers movies have a schlock appeal to them, and yet a feeling of quality that just makes them, and uniqueness that makes them so awesome.
We need to do we need to do an old school English class compare and contrast. I think between.
Oh yeah, well we got to find a way to fit in some Golden Harvest and especially because the schlock appeal is stronger. The Shaw movies at some point. We'll put that on. Oh, I wanted to suggest, by the way, can we do a season, guys, where either every lead actor or every lead character has the name Johnny, and then we can call it Johnny Be Good.
I love it. I love it. It's gonna be so hard to find.
Oh yeah. Totally hard.
Johnny Be Good.
So the other thing that I'm going to bring away from this, I am a big fan of Daniel Day Kim. I've been a fan of his since he did the very short-lived spin-off of Babylon 5, Crusade, and I love. You're talking about how Chinese people might be offended by this. That's the future of Shaolin. The keeper of the respectful legacy of China is Korean American Daniel Day Kim.
Yeah.
You know what? And one of the things that guy though, he did this film in 1991. Like he didn't have any success in Lost until 2004. Like there's somebody to respect just for the perseverance. You know, he kept at it.
That's a lot of weighted tables.
Yeah.
I gave this a 6, and we're into our final category, which is crazy concept. Now, this is if you were sitting in a producer's office and had to pitch this, how wacky is it, Stan?
Well, you know, by themselves, if you take the two concepts of the movie. It's like you've got the martial arts movie concept, and then you've got the middle part, which is the teen coming of age in a monastery movie, which in itself is kind of crazy. Neither of them are that bad. I'm only giving this a 3 because of the fusion of the two.
You know what? I'm going high on this one. I'm going with a 6 on the basis that, I mean, this is part of the family of films of No Retreat, No Surrender, and King of the Kickboxers. And it has virtually none of the same stuff any of those other films have.
But it has the same director, same producer, same writer. That's the only reason why. And the name recognition. They're like, we can sell more videotapes if we put that on there, even if it has nothing to do with it.
Oh, yeah. No, but I mean, why would they make this film? Why would they not make another King of the Kickboxers?
Fuck, they did. They made so many of these different films. We're not lacking a No Retreat, No Surrender series of films.
Let's just go to China and meditate for a film. What the hell?
Well, what was it? You gave it an 8, a 9?
I gave it a 6.
A 6, okay. I gave it a 4 because, again, it's a coming of age story and it's a fish out of water story. Like with martial arts. Yeah, a little bit, but not like totally insane.
All right, I was also at a 6 for this one. I thought just the mashup was pretty crazy, and just the strange tone, the absurdist tone that it had a few times. We rate each of these out of 10. That gives me one big number, and then we have our secret modifiers. Every season we'll have 6 modifiers that we will only tell you about as they come up.
3 positive, 3 negative.
3 positive, 3 that will add a point. It will end up with a final score of 100, so 3 will add a point. 3 can subtract a point. This movie has 3 different modifiers hit.
I know that it gets a point subtracted for its length.
One of the modifiers is that if you exceed 95 minutes, which we had we between us decided is the length of the long end of a B movie. This is 106, so it loses a point for that. We gain a point back for being the debut for a famous actor. So we have a category that if it's the beginning of an actor's career or the end of an actor's career, then they get a point.
It should have ended a lot of actors' career. I mean, but that's the thing, though. You mentioned that it also had Jean Louisa Kelly. She had a small role in this, and she went on to be the star of Yes Dear on CBS for like 6 years. It had we mentioned the guy who was the what do you call it? Judy Arneson. She was also in the video for Nelson's Love and Affection, The Dream Girl. Does that qualify? Either way, the guy who was his original teacher played Mr. Kim in Fifth Element. And so, I mean, as far as people, and we talk about Andrew Shue, right, being beat up, like it's loaded with that stuff. With guys,
all of them in kind of that B category, except of course for Daniel Day Kim, who exceptional performer, very successful now, as you pointed out. Also gets a point for having an Asian or Asian American stunt coordinator. The martial arts choreography was done by Corey and Tak Yuen, who worked very frequently with Jet Li, did tons and tons of movies with Jet Li. So all of that added together gives us a grand total of 64 out of 100, which puts it in a close second in the octagon scoring that we will continue to do every episode.
To Jim Cotta?
Just behind Jim Cotta. Jim Cotta 67.5. So just.
And what was King of the Kickboxers? The original?
King of the Kickboxers only 50.
Wow. And American. Once again, you say 42.5 for
42.5 American Ninja.
And out of curiosity, as American Ninja, what were the 4 different scores now that we've rescored mine to 17? Was I the lowest score?
You were now the lowest score, yeah.
I went from the highest to the lowest.
Highest to the lowest, yeah.
That makes sense.
And,
I just want to...
And strangely, you're the lowest on American Shaolin as well.
At 27.
At 27. I was the highest, which I was a little surprised by, at 36 out of 50. Nick next at 32, and Stan at 31.
Okay, I just want to read you guys something. Okay, on a remote Caribbean island, Army Ranger Joe Armstrong investigates the disappearance of several Marines, which leads him to the Lion, a super criminal who has kidnapped a local scientist and mass-produced an army of mutant ninja warriors. That's American Ninja 2. That's the one we wanted.
Oh, don't you worry, Jack. We're gonna get there. I can pretty much guarantee it. When whatever it is, season 7 of
we need you
White
guys.
Dragon,
you
All
guys
American
gotta start
Ninjas.
sending us movie ideas and actual physical copies if you want to, and money, because we clearly need to be doing this more. We need to be watching 5 movies a day, recording 5 shows a day, because this is awesome.
All right, well, Jim, give us the Instagram.
All right,
you can send us shit.
Find us on Instagram at Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo, and talk about these movies, talk about the B movies and the independent movies, low budget that you like, with hashtag Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo.
All right. Well, as Jack mentioned earlier, next movie up is Bloodsport.
I thought it was Kickboxer.
As we work our way through our White Dragon All American Ninjas season 1, and I know we're having a ton of fun, and I do look forward to talking about a little JCVD next week. But I am 8th Dan Stanadu, and for Jim and Jack and Nick, and of course Brad, who's not here, thank you so much for sticking with the Kung Fu